So I suppose you're all wondering why I sing for you.
See?
Here.
Did you sleep? I did.
Wake up in the morning.
2 in the afternoon. Oh, really? That's because I porked out and it was good. Pasta.
Oh, yeah.
A bunch of
It's late tomorrow, Wednesday, right?
Yes. London. How are you guys? We're waiting for the rest of the band. Bonsoir. Bonsoir.
Right. I don't know how big this bench is going to be.
Two more to come. Two more. Two more. Okay.
This must be start. If somebody catches up, comes Jack.
Before they came, I just
Wow. What year do you think?
I met you so many times.
Cool, man.
Just delivered from Portugal.
Oh, cool. Right. Thank you.
I'm a friend. I was a friend. I feel like
Okay, great.
few pictures.
I like the picture.
Yeah.
Makes me look young.
Yeah.
That's a good one, Phil. Wow, is that you?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Young. Phil was a nice guy. It was a
He was a great guy.
really great man.
That's really a music man. No, wait a minute. Is that a P bass or a music?
That looks like a music man. Earlier, he was changing.
All the time, man.
I saw him with a working back. Very unusual.
The early days, you
Yeah, it's too bad more people couldn't meet Philly, so he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
heavy, right?
You guys know Damon?
The sound that distorted in the beginning.
There comes Shecky. Alright, we're nearly a bus.
I feel like you guys are being interrogated.
So we're just
Go
going
ahead.
It wasn't me.
We're just killing time till you go here.
Let's see.
Chair. I've never seen one.
Well, we got one more, but if you just want to go ahead and ask away there.
So, you're really famous in the UK and United States, but not so much in France. So, how do you see your French audience?
How do we see them?
Yeah.
Well, the actual bona fide Thin Lizzy fans they're great fans. You know, it just takes us getting over here more and playing more. I'm not really sure why we haven't been over here as much as we probably should have, but we're trying to rectify that now. The group is absolutely stable now, as you'll see tonight when you see us play live tonight. So I think we're going to be making a lot more trips over to France specifically.
Don't be shy, come on.
You guys know everybody's names here? There's Brian Downey on the end, Damon Johnson, Darren Wharton, Marco Mendoza, Ricky Warwick.
Scott Gorham.
Who cares about me?
Scotty Gorham.
This band is an incredible story since the beginning. How do you feel about that?
About the incredible story? Incredible. It's yeah, you're right. It's a lot of peaks, a lot of valleys, a lot of changes. I used to refer to the right-hand side of the stage as a revolving door with people coming through left, right, and center. But we've actually solved that problem now with everybody that's in this band right now. This is now a permanent thing. So much so that we're now writing songs together. We've got an album that we're going to be recording over the next few months. So that's something that we've really never even really considered before. until there's a lineup, and now we're actually really confident enough to actually do that.
You can say that the boys are back in town again.
Haven't heard that one. Yes. I think the boys are here to stay in town. There you go.
For a long time?
As long as we possibly can. I mean, that's the idea. So, I mean, this unit, this is a permanent unit. So that's what makes everybody, that's why the confidence is real high.
So how do you deal with the personality of each of you and the spirit of the band, the original spirit of the band?
Well, that's one of the cool things. Is we've got the spirit back to what it originally was. You know, where everybody's deadly serious about what we're doing, but we're also having just a great time at the same time. We're all really good friends, so that makes it a hell of a lot easier. This whole project, you know yourself, being on the road for months and months at a time, it's a tough thing, right? But because we're such good friends, we all really believe in each other. It makes it kind of an easy thing to handle. You're next.
If it's possible, how could you define Thin Lizzy today?
I get the really hard question.
That's an easy one.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Who is shy?
Fantastic. That's how you define it, you know. Thin Lizzy have always been an amazing rock and roll band. Great songs, great live performance, meaningful lyrics, great storytelling and lyrics. And it's a way of life as well. It's just a rock and roll band. I think the band still stands for that today, and it's never wavered from that in 40 years. No? Disagree?
No, he's got it.
I translated the same thing.
Oh, sorry.
So it's being proud, being part of such a band.
Well, for me personally, when I grew up in Belfast in the 70s and early 80s, and Thin Lizzy was the soundtrack of my life when I was a kid. And if somebody asks you, do you want to be in the movie, the soundtrack of your life, you're kind of going to go, yeah, no, I'm in, you know. And so that's what it was like for me. It was joining my all-time favourite band, dream come true, to win in the musical lottery. And it's an honour and a privilege and a fantastic feeling to be part of such a, for me, the greatest rock and roll band in the world.
Many bands take pieces from Thin Lizzy. It's going from Metallica to U2. How do you feel about that?
It's amazing. You know, I mean, when you're out there doing it at the time, you don't really realize, obviously, that you're influencing anybody. You're basically treading water and trying to keep your head above water and hope you can please enough people so you can get either to the next album or to the next tour. You know, but you know, years later, you find out that yeah, all these rather big name people have come out and said they name us as the guys that they were learning from. So
I think even myself and David in our previous bands, we unashamedly stole from Thin Lizzy. You know, David's band Brother Kane was the almighty guys, the Nick Phil's lyrics all the time. And, you know, they're just a huge influence, and that's the mark of great songwriting, great musicianship.
it's like I was playing golf with Alice Cooper and Damon here. First time I met Damon, and that's when he told me that what a huge fan of Thin Lizzy he was. Now, he's quite a bit younger than me, and I thought, that's pretty cool. You know, you're that much younger and you're that big of a fan. So it kind of it reaches down further into the generation. So that's pretty cool, actually.
When I saw you for the first time, one of the things that impressed me so much, it was of course the Phil Lynot's play, the Phil Lynot's voice, but also the fact that you had, it was the first time I saw that you had two guitar players, solo guitar players front of the stage,
Right.
and Snowy and you.
Okay.
And that kind of thing that influenced so many bands after. What do you think about this? Are you proud to be the first to have this technical?
I have to keep trying to correct people on that. Thank you for that, but we weren't actually the first. Obviously, there were quite a few other bands that had the same form. I've had people say that we were the guys that invented the twin guitar and the harmony guitar, and I have to keep reminding people that, you know, Wishbone and Ash were out there. The Allman Brothers, hell, Les Paul was doing it back in the 50s, you know. What we did is we took it into a different genre, into the rock genre, and made it popular. So that's why it probably seems that we were, you know, one of the first groups to do that. But there's a history to the whole twin guitar and harmony guitar thing. So, but thanks for.
No, it was really fantastic. It was.
Well, thank you.
It's my favorite band.
Oh, thank you.
By some reasons.
Thank you.
My daughter is called Sarah.
Oh, is that right?
There's so many
It's
reasons.
a pretty song.
Yeah.
Has music much changed since the beginning of Thin Lizzy, and in which way?
Well, after so many years, we've become a lot more accomplished musicians. And since Phil has passed on, I think all of us have become much better musicians. We've become better songwriters also. I mean, in Ricky Warwick right now, the lyrics that I'm reading of his are pretty unbelievable. He absolutely is in the same line as Phil Lynott, where he can tell a story, get the whole thing down, and comprehensible with a lot of imaginary there, a lot of vision in 4 minutes, right? Which it's a tough thing to do right now. There's a lot of lyricists out there that really kind of don't care about the storyline of the whole thing, as long as it rhymes here and it rhymes there and it kind of makes some sense over there. You know, people are kind of getting away with it. Where Ricky is like Phil, that's not the way he wants to do it. He wants to tell the whole story right from the beginning right to the end. So I think that's a very cool thing.
It's a long time you haven't recorded a new album. Does that mean that you not working for a new album?
Sorry, just one more time.
It's a long time you haven't recorded
Really?
a new album. Does that mean that you never worked to a new album? Or
Well, no, it wasn't that. It's, you know, it's kind of like what I said before. You've got to be surrounded by, all of us have got to be surrounded by the right people. You know, the confidence factor has to be pretty high. We've always kind of felt that really if we were going to make the commitment of doing an album, that maybe we've only got one shot at it. You know, and you've got to give it the right shot with the right people. You've got to feel confident with everybody around you. These are the guys, man, that we all feel confident with. Now it's time. It's time to do it.
And when will it be released?
Well, right now we're going back up to Newcastle to a demo studio. We've already demoed up 17 songs. We've got another 7 to go. So the idea originally was to go in September, use the month of September and start recording. But I think we're going to push that back a little bit, just because of you know, the producer and all that. There's scheduling problems and all that. So we're going to try to get it started at least on this side of this year.
So is this known, the band, like leaving Phil Lynott behind and start something new with the same name? Or?
Well, you know, we did what we did with Phil, and we all love Phil to death. You know, it's not like we're leaving him behind. He's always, the spirit of Phil Lynott is always going to be in this band. But at some point, you do have to kind of let go, and you have to be your own man at some point. I think if we kept relying solely on Phil Lynott, I think we probably wouldn't last very long. I think people would see that. Ooh, it sounds like this, it sounds like that. We've got to, at some point, we do have to break away without, you know, letting away. Phil was my best friend, Brian Downey's best friend. All of these guys, you know, loved and respected him. So he's always going to be there.
Still a member of the band?
Absolutely. You'll see it tonight. You know, he gets introduced every night. He gets one of the biggest cheers every night.
Can't wait.
Well, I think if I can add this to that, I think Phil would be honored to know that Brian and Scott and Dan are still out continuing the legacy, you know, turning on new fans, coming to friends, hopefully more often, and letting people get exposed to these great songs that, for myself, Marco, and Ricky, I mean, we were very influenced by things. And particularly Phil's writing, stories, and melodies, and this great, you know, twin guitar, the harmony that we were talking about earlier. So the thing that I'm most proud of is that, you know, for Brian and Scott to feel like now they're ready. a lot about their confidence in this lineup, this government. And I think that, you know, it really legitimizes what we're trying to do. There's so many great songs in the catalog, and we could just go out, you know, and do 150 shows a year and just play those great songs, and it would be fun, and the audience would like it. But we have to kind of spread our wings a little bit. So the fact that we're bringing up writing new material to add to that legacy is very exciting, very inspiring.
There's a spirit of filming.
Absolutely, there is a spirit.
Absolutely. I like to put it like, the boys with Phil got on the map of rock and roll history with a big old flag they left. Big old flag. I'd like to grab that flag and take it forward to the new generations to represent the spirit of what was done before and take it to the new 10, 15, 20 years, whatever it may be. So we got the flag and representing, so join us, come on board.
Transmission?
I'm sorry?
Kind of transmission of
Transition.
to the
Transition, I mean,
transition.
yeah, transition. Yeah, moving on, with the history and the legacy of Thin Lizzy, with the new lineup, and we're, like Damon said, I'm very honored to be part of this and to be part of something that Brian and Darren and Scott would consider, But we're here, man. We're here to do it the best we can, and hopefully you guys can join us and we can move forward, That's the idea.
This night you are playing with Monash and Toto. What does it mean for you to play with two other groups?
Is that good for us?
Always like it.
Well, we all kind of came from the same generation. It's two other, really great bands. It's a cool package. It's a lot of fun. I haven't seen the guys in Wishbone Ash for a few years. We met up with them in the hotel last night, had a couple of drinks, a couple of stories.
He showed us already.
Yeah. Okay. But it's kind of the cool thing with a lot of these festivals is you don't see each other band-wise for a fair few years. All of a sudden, then you hook up, like I say, have a couple of drinks, tell some old stories. It's a way to actually reconnect with guys who you knew for 4 years and from years ago. So these kind of things are a lot of fun.
Talking about party and drinks, you Irish people are really famous for your sense of party.
I'm only half Irish.
Oh,
I have to direct that to him.
It's all about
I can only drink half of what he
Brian's
drinks.
just right now. We're throwing Brian into the bus. I don't even drink. There you go.
So, did you already taste our wine or our beer?
I did last night.
Yeah.
Your Chardonnay is very nice, right? I'm going for the Sauvignon Blanc tonight.
Yeah, man.
As you can see, I'm a wine guy.
I don't drink wine, so
And did you
I
taste
drink
our
everything
beer?
else but wine. But
Did you taste our beers?
no, I had a Kronenberg last night. Sorry,
What's your main beer here?
Cronenberg.
Kronenberg.
But
Yeah.
Fisher
But
is
yeah.
I've had Kronenberg.
That's from the Fisher.
yeah.
Fisher is better.
Fisher.
Guinness.
Not so strong out.
There we go.
No, the French, you know how to drink. Don't forget. The Swiss, you know how to drink.
No, I practice. Yeah. We keep on practice.
There you go.
Maybe I have a question for Ricky. We just thought about Phil before. So is this inheritance not sometimes heavy on your shoulders? Should we always compare the voice and stuff?
It is in a good way, though. It's a nice pressure to be under. Phil was such an influence on me that, like the guys were saying, he's with us every day. We talk about him. The guys are telling stories about him. I still feel like he's always around. He's part of this. But Scott asked me to sing. Him and I had a long chat about what we wanted to try and achieve with this, and everybody knows it's got half a brain. Phil's irreplaceable. There's no way you get out of the way to try and stand in the man's shoes. All you can do is stand beside him. I hope the song is doing this for from you, and that's what I try to do. I try to sing the songs the way we all know and love them. With a huge nod to Phil, but at the end of the day, I'm Ricky Warwick and I have to sing with him.
Yeah.
That's Ricky Warwick too.
Yeah.
And I would never insult Phil by trying to copy him or stand in those shoes, because you can't, and there's no point in doing it. which really pisses me off when you see you get people saying, "Well, why didn't they get the guy from the tribute band that looks like Phil?" Yeah, and that's the biggest insult you can ever give Phil. You know, it really is. You know, as everybody said before, Marcus said, I thought very well. You know, we're grabbing the flag. It's already been established. We're moving forward. No, we're completely paying homage to everything that's gone before. But life goes on, and life moves forward. And it's natural progression. And that's all we're trying to do. That's all I'm trying to do.
Going your own way is the best thing.
Yeah, that's all you can do. I mean, I don't see the point in trying to mimic or copy anybody else, especially somebody that was as great as Phil, you know, or anybody. We're all individuals. And like I said, I'm a fan. I want people to know and hear those songs and feel comfortable hearing them. It's my mother telling her about it. And, you know, the way they know and love them. But it's got to be, it's like a balancing act, it's like a fine line. You've got to try and be your own man as well, which hopefully I'm trying to do.
Speaking about flag, you feel that you enlarge your audience to younger people?
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. You see that every night. You know, a fair few years ago, you'd look out and be like guys our age out there. But now, with the crew that we've got up there now, you see the younger audiences, they're sort of flocking to the gates now. They're interested now. They want to see what this whole Thin Lizzy thing is all about. You know, their parents, their older brothers, all told them about it. It's getting played a lot more on the radio. They want to hear it for themselves. They want to see this thing called Thin Lizzy by themselves. You know, they want to go to the concert. So you see a lot of the younger faces out there.
It's a good motivation to continue.
Sorry?
It's a good motivation to continue.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you know, it shows that you are. Every time you go out there, you're reaching a much wider audience, and that's can do your confidence only good. That's what you're here for. You're out here to reach as many people as possible. That's what's happening. We're getting this kind of snowball effect, which is great.
You have a lot of you know, diehard Thin Lizzy fans that have been coming for years, and then it's evident that a lot of the new kids are coming to check it out. And we always call it, we're going out there and winning. You know, every show that we do, we go out there with the attitude to do business and win them, you know. And so far, so good. The response has been great. But a lot of new generations are coming and getting exposed to the Thin Lizzy experience that otherwise wouldn't have gotten exposed to it. I had a chance to, you know. So it's good, man. It's very good.
New generation of musicians, not just
A lot of musicians, actually. A lot of musicians are coming to check it out. Yes, absolutely.
But I have a problem with this new generation. I don't know if you have it. Because as the Jerk Cocker says in his song N'oublie jamais, he says each generation has its own way. But Scott, in the magazines, the covers are made with Deep Purple, with Thin Lizzy.
Exactly.
There's a problem. So I would like to know what's your impression about the new bands, because, for example, Arctic Monkeys, they play, but they play 5 days, and after they stopped about 3 months. It's not the same way.
Great gig, I couldn't get it.
What's your vision?
Well, you know, it is a different era right now. People are, even the way you sell records is totally different from the way we used to sell records. You know, attitudes are completely different. You know, you hear now that there's probably less kids that want to be rock stars now than used to be, say, 20 years ago. But you know, there's also the fact that there's so many different genres of music to diversify all of these kids. You know, it's been a little bit diluted, but when you get to the hard rock situation, it seems to endure. You know, especially here, Germany, the UK, America. Bands like ourselves can do these extra long and hard tours and still be able to pull the people in. There's still a huge audience there for this kind of music. But I take your point. It has been diluted because of different attitudes from the way kids are being brought up now. The way you buy the records is a whole different thing. And there's just so many different kinds of music out there right now to divert everybody's attention. So you got to keep your head down right now and work it.
But I think
Work as hard as you can.
kids will always want music. They'll never change. It just depends what format they get it in. That's what will change. You know, I mean, my 13-year-old son just before I left was blasting Crazy Train by Ozzy. You know, and that's not something that I was never been much of an Ozzy fan. It's great what he does, but it's something he's discovered on his own. And he's mad at the Black Sabbath now. It's his favourite band. He's 13. So you know, kids, they ain't dumb. You know, they know when they discover a band, like a new band that comes out, a new metal band, that'll maybe divert them back, a rock band, to the past, to find the original instigators of that thing. You know, it's like, you know, I first heard The Clash, and then I remember that boyfriend and my sister going, like The Clash, and check out The Who. So it kind of works. I think it still works that way too.
It's only rock and roll.
I think the other great new medium as well is also the digital, obviously the download era now. That young kids don't really have to sort of search like the old days and go to the record shop and dig out CDs. You know, obviously bands like THIN LIZZY now and even Toto to an extent. It's just totally accessible anywhere in the world by all this young generation. If they hear about a song or they hear, say, The Boys Back in Town on the radio or on the TV, you know, it's so easy just to sort of, you know, listen to the app and find out what song it is. So I think related to the new audience that we're getting, there's a lot of young kids that basically heard THIN LIZZY for the first time, had that exposure to it, and want to go and see what the band's all about. And it's totally connected now to the digital and you know, the medium for them to be, you know, get access to bands like us. So it all helps us on great.
How do you explain that, like, England, Great Britain in the 60s, 70s was a crowd for rock music? Always a new band coming up, so rock band coming up.
Rap band.
Rock band?
Rock. It's why I wanted to go to England.
And, okay, what do you think about talking about the new generation? Because it seems this movement doesn't exist anymore in England, Great Britain.
Back in the 60s, you know, the Brits were there was something in the water there. I don't know what it was, but it seemed like just every other week a brand new, amazing band, another new piece of great music was coming over the American radio waves once again. Like I said, it's what made me want to go to England. What the hell is going on in this island to produce this many superstar guys? What is it? I actually thought I was going to get off the airplane and start tripping over rock stars as I was trying to get these.
I think the problem is, Scott said, radio as well, mainstream radio is very conditioned to what they play. They just play, you know, crap pop music now. They won't, there's no sort of specialist shows like John Peel used to be on Radio 1 or Kid Jensen. You know, and it's so, rock music's hard to get into the mainstream.
Alright, but it's still like band playing in England?
We just had a band open up for us.
Underground maybe?
There's a band called The Treatment that opened up for us a couple of months ago. Remember the kids from Cambridge?
Yes.
And they're amazing, and they're doing really well. I'm actually out with Kiss in the States right now. All young kids, 19, 20 years old. Great songs, great attitude play. So I think, you know, it's still there. It's just maybe we're not reading the right magazines. I mean, I don't read Kerrang anymore. That used to be the Bible, you know, the holy Bible of rock and metal music.
Well, don't miss this, man. I mean, I can certainly speak for the American bands, younger bands. You know, in the 60s and 70s, the mentality was if you wanted to be a great musician or a great songwriter, and everybody was excited about blues and they were excited about jazz and they melded all these different influences together. MTV was a great medium in some ways, but in a lot of ways it was the worst thing that ever happened to music. Then what happened is kids didn't want to be great musicians. They just wanted to be famous, or they just wanted to be rich. None of us cared about that. We were
I
playing
don't know,
music because we
because
loved it.
in the States you still have this dream, you have like a young band like Black Keys or 10 years old, or Jack White, or it's more based in blues, but there's still something going on, and I don't hear anything from England anymore.
Check out The Treatment.
Well, you know, I think, you know, like I say, once again, I'll hark back to when I first came to England. I could walk into any pub in London, and if I saw a stage, I would say, oh, let me talk to the manager here, right? And the manager would come over and say, you know, I'm from LA. I got a bass player from St. Louis, blah, 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 from blah. He says, we got a band, I see you got a stage. How about you letting us get up there and play? And the guy'd look at me and go, all right, show up on Wednesday. And I go to the next pub and do the same thing. Until you have like, you're playing 5 nights a week. You don't have that anymore. And if there is a gig, they're making these kids pay to get up there and play. So there's less and less opportunities for these kids to actually practice what they preach. And I think that's almost criminal at this point. It's really tough for the young guys to get up there and get on something like this. To get on, there is no pub circuit anymore where you can cut your teeth, practice what you do. And I think that's a real shame. We're probably off the subject here, aren't I?
No.
Just ranting.
But it takes people like you guys to promote it. That's the bottom line. I mean, for the record, you know, rock concerts are selling tickets. The venues are being sold out. There's a lot of new bands that are coming in. They're not getting the exposure that they used to. But it's about coming out and performing. Like the Treaty, they came out and opened for us, and we went. We were talking about them. It takes people like you to spread the word and promote and support things like that. That's the bottom line. I mean, you know.
But they need a big place to play.
To play, that's true. You know.
They can't report it unless they can go see it.
They-
So
yeah.
that's-
I think the other thing as well is probably the same in France now, but if you get, the trouble is with the magazines a lot in the UK is that they really only want to, they're interested in selling magazines and Google and some effectively established bands only get on the front cover, so, you know, so it's difficult for unknown bands to get the push like you used to do in the old days, because it's all based on who's going to sell the magazines. You know, they're not going to sell any copies, we're not going to have them in the magazine. But these days you've got YouTube,
just have to get better.
you know, you've got YouTube, you've got other media.
It's now a never-ending story with new media for record order.
That's it.
You know,
It's always been like that.
But now it's better for new bands. At least they've got YouTube, they've got all these new mediums of getting known and, you know, getting their music out. So in a lot of ways it's a lot easier for new bands to make an impression and to make, you know, to get known.
We need to knock it on the head, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
There you go.